Oh my goodness, I'm on a cliff, but now I'm turned around and facing you. Hey, how you doing? It's a me, Cat, and I'm here with Sophia, who's an honorary cat. Very glorious, I think. Very glorious indeed. So I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. I was thinking about the glories of nature and how they constantly exemplify the glory of Ma. Look at look at the wolves running. They exemplify the glorious nature of Ma Kali and all of Devi type energies. So that's pretty cool. And look, I can track him from here, so I can kind of watch him. And then wait. The guy come back closer again, and then I can watch him. Yeah, look, they're just kind of running, having fun, running around. You know, I don't intend to disturb them. Look at them. Big old wolves running in circles. You know, the kind of wondrous thing about nature is that nature is like this kind of like self-healing organism, but we can also kind of like, you know, make it bad worse or make it different worse. But, you know, that's just part of the divine Leela, you know. I was thinking about the glories of nature and how it's so wonderful that you can kind of look out at scenes of nature and like see the wonder of Ma. Like this looks like an artist made it, and I guess technically an artist did make it because, you know, a video game person made it. But you know, it's also true of like real nature scenes. Like sometimes you go into real nature scenes and you see all of the different components and mechanisms within them, and you can see all the complicated things that are going on to create the scenes before us. Oh, there's some dead wolves. And you know, that's also one of the funny things is that like scenes of death can be just as beautiful in their own way, and you can see the truth of Ma and her nature within it. That we all get to be here for a time, and then we get to pass, and then we get to be born anew. Life, birth, and rebirth. Life, death, rebirth. But then, see? Ooh. And now they're alive again. The constant cycles of rebirth are going on around us at all times. You know, it's interesting because part of the reason I like living where I live is because you can really see these cycles of nature. So you get to see like in summer, or you get to see in like winter, everything kind of dies out and it gets cold and things get you know, hibernatory. But then in spring, life becomes abundant. We have so many bunnies and things around here, and they love to run around. It's kind of funny because sometimes I'll go outside and I will just... Oh, excuse me. Are you angry at me? Yeah, looks like it. Prefer it if you weren't. Hey. I said no. Ooh. Whoop. Whoop. What'd you give me? Oh, some beast bones. Thank you. But you know, one of the keys to all this is that you have to have the right eye to perceive it, right? Because otherwise you would go and you would see like, well, as a good example, actually, you might go and you see an animal dead in the woods and you say, oh no, the poor animal died. But you know, in the ending of one life, there's a birth and a feeding of so many other lives because the plants get to enjoy the nutrients, but first the insects and little decomposers get to enjoy things, and the creatures that like to devour bodies, the little tiny microscopic bacteria, they get to help decompose a body, and then after it decomposes and stuff like that, you know, eventually it turns into nutrients for the trees, and everything gets better because of it. It's in a constant cycle and a constant beautiful balance. And you know, the whole universe is like this, but on a much larger scale, where we can see the explosions of stars and the destruction of planets can also give birth to new minerals and materials out in the vast plains of space. Big explosions and things. It's real neato. And by seeing the constant cycles of things around us, we get to see that there is a constant level of rebirth and love. Because you see, it's not just about loving humanity, because then you'd say, well, then why are there diseases and things? Well, there's also a love for the diseases. Ma Kali loves the diseases. Ma Kali loves the bacteria and the viruses, but she also loves us, and she loves every single creature, and she's created this habitat for all of these creatures to exist abundantly upon this earth and run around and do all kinds of crazy things. Not to mean Jimmy Dean. And in the right mindset, you can see that even sometimes war gets to be a beautiful thing in its own savage way. And it gets to remind us of mortality. And it can be very useful because it reminds us that we are mortal and only on this plane for a brief time before we pass. And then we go to the next plane, and then we get rebirthed and all these other wonderful, fun things. But it's all part of the grand play. Not I mean? The mushrooms grow. The bears grow. The bears see me and they decide to be angry, even though they shouldn't be. Because they're not very smart and they don't realize that I can just do that. And then I can do this. But it's okay. All things are born to take their part in the play. Now, see, on some level you might say, well, but Catte, there is suffering as part of the play. There is dark things as part of the play. There are things that we don't understand as part of the play. And it's like, yeah, that adds to oh my goodness, you have a lot more health than the other ones. Oops. Ow. Hug. No hugs, you big meanie. Oh. Wait. Oh. Not really in trouble, but I'll... drink it just to be safe. And then see, sometimes you get to defeat the large creatures and you get the beast blood and a lump of flesh. And he was also defending a prize. A sliver of meat. That's not much of a prize, sir, but thank you anyway. Sir, if I was playing in an arcade and I won a bunch of tickets and I came up to you, I would not choose the sliver of meat prize. I'm just saying. But just as I would not choose a sliver of meat, we would not all choose our fates, and we would not all choose the things that we end up in. Sometimes they are the result of our own choices, and other times they are simply, the passing fancy of what is going to occur regardless. The hand of fate pushes things in a certain direction. Now, part of the reason this is all important to take note of is that you do have a limited control over the things that happen in your life, but they are very limited. And ultimately, all things happen according to the whims of Ma. So knowing this, it's a very good thing to keep in mind that you should be happy and accept your roles and enjoy the roles that come to you. You should also see that even in the midst of suffering, there is a glory and a beauty to the whole dealio. Even within chaos, there is order. And even within order, there is chaos. All things flow on to one another in a constant cycle. Big ol' rebirthing, big ol' raining, big ol' things. Not I mean Jimmy Dean? Now you may say, but Catte, it's not easy to control the way you feel. And I would say you are correct. It can take a lot of work, a lot of meditation, and a lot of reflection. But it's ultimately very worth it. You can turn your anger into something beautiful and something that feels good. You can find your sadness and find ways to divorce yourself from it and instead embrace the joy of existence. You can find all of these things within, and you can find all of them from Ma. Ma's glory is all pervasive. You get angry? You know what you can do? You can offer up your anger to Ma. Tell her, Ma, I don't want this emotion right now. You can have it. And she'll gobble it up for you. Ma, I don't want to feel sad right now. And maybe she'll take away some of the sadness. Maybe she'll take away all of it. It really depends on what exactly is going on, you know? But then, oop, I want to get on top of there. It's not going to let me. Oh, you know what I should do actually is I should do. I have a shield like a great conflict. Oops, not quite close enough. Gotcha. And you can find that even in very tough battles, sometimes simply asking Ma for a little bit of help can help tremendously. I do not promise that all of your negative emotions will go away and that you'll never experience sadness or things like that again. I cannot promise that. Only Ma can truly promise that. And that comes with enlightenment, among other things. But by simply having the right attitude towards these things, it's things that will come and go, things that are a part of the nature of existence, and things that, you know, may be a bit inevitable, you know, because there's the whole thing about within all of these different things, you know, a certain amount of decay is inevitable. All things in the material universe decay, but they don't truly decay. They simply turn back into another form of Ma, because Ma makes up all things. It's just that these little images here, these little bodies that she takes on, they come and go. All things come and go, which is why we should appreciate them in the moments we have them and be thankful for every good moment and be blessed that and realize the blessing that every bad moment is merely a moment. They all come and go. Is beautiful, yes? Is wonderful. The sweetness of life is, you know, a big complicated stew. It is not all happy moments and it is not all bad moments. It is a big mix. And a lot of the way these things affect us is determined by how we choose to react to the things within those moments. If we choose to get angry and to imbibe our anger, because that's another thing, these angers and these emotions and things, they kind of aren't really yours. They're just these random flashes within your mind. And you can choose to grab onto them, hold on to them, or you can choose to let them go. And yes, it takes work to let them go, but you can get to the point where you can let them go. But we choose how we view a lot of these things. We can choose how we see them and how we react to them. We can choose, with the proper training and proper methods, to simply let things go and to not focus on them. We have a moment where, you know, we can see the negative emotions popping up. And there's always this temptation to grab onto them and to, like, you know, keep them close to us and to go, oh, well, yes, I have to feel this because I'm feeling this, aren't I? But the truth is that you are the consciousness behind these feelings. The only thing that is really you eternally is that consciousness. That part of Ma which is within all of us. You can simply observe and not find yourself attached to these various different emotions and feelings. And in truth, they are not yours. They are merely a thing that comes and goes. And then once you start to observe how often they just come and go, and how so many of these thoughts, feelings, and emotions are just sort of swirling around no matter what you do, you can start to control them better, and you can start to react to them better. Reacting to them is the big thing. If you get all reactive and you start running after anger, then yeah, you're going to experience anger. But just because you have experienced or had a thought pop within your noodle doesn't mean you need to grasp onto it. There is a great pleasure in letting go, just as there is a great pleasure into not claiming ownership. Look upon the glories of Ma and simply enjoy them like you're in one big great museum, or you're watching one great play. The giant play will go on and on and on and on. And it does not just include the activities of this earth and things that seem so important to mankind, but it also includes the whole vast gambit. The great stars that go in their little circles, well, the bodies that orbit the stars and things like that. Black holes exist just 'cause. They don't need some grand purpose. They simply exist within the play. And there is beauty in that. There's beauty in simply existing and simply appreciating existence and not trying to, excuse me, and not trying to, control them in one way or another. That's one of the things that I think the Stoics get most right, is that there is no point in getting upset over things that you cannot control. Now, you could argue about the merits of any individual specific philosophy or anything like that. But what I am trying to say is that there is this great play that is going to go on regardless of what you do. You can choose to become upset at the play, to not like the way the play does things for you or does things for other people. You can see a great suffering sometimes occurs to the people within the play. You can see all these things. But accepting it as it is, and accepting that if you want to change it, well, part of it is that you have to have a certain amount of detachment from it. It can be very helpful. Do not simply engage with your anger, or with this thing that we're calling your anger, as if you were truly own it. It is simply a manifestation of events. It will come and go. There is no reason to embrace it. Just let it pass, like all other things. Embrace your joy if you want. That at least makes some sense, But, don't try too hard to embrace your anger. That's silly. And don't embrace your sadness too much. Simply observe it. And then realize that this thing that we're calling your sadness, your anger, is not truly yours. It is simply an experience, a phenomenon. Isn't that neat? You can choose what your experience is to a certain degree. Because although you may not be 100% in charge of the events that happen within your life, you can choose how you're reacting to them. And you can choose which emotions you cling on to. So remember, don't cling on to all the bad emotions. Enjoy the sunlight. Ooh, giant spooky tree. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say for right now. I hope you enjoyed my little babble while I was running around with a cool spear. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And I hope that you know that you are loved, and that Catte loves you, and that Ma Kali loves you, and that Vishnu loves you, and Krishna loves you. And they're all the same, and we're all the same together. And I love all of you. Big cat hugs. Okay? Bye-bye. Wait. Where is it? Bye-bye.